Good morning, and welcome to Winnipeg. I would be amiss if I said nothing. So, here we go. I can remember when I was a little kid, and we were living in a small little community in northern Saskatchewan in Canada. We had no running water, no electricity, and we did have a radio. And it was one of these old tube type radios. Transistor radios were in their infancy back then. Even if they existed, I'm not sure. We didn't have one, that's for sure. And our radio was one of these old-fashioned ones that it worked off a big battery pack. I think it was a 90-volt pack. From what I remember of it, it had 45 volts on one side that you plugged into, and 45 volts on the other side that you plugged into. And right in the middle, I think there was a 1.5 or a 3-volt battery or something, and you plugged another line into that. I forget what they were called. There's a special name for those kind of battery packs. I haven't seen one since I was in my early 20s. Now, we were listening to a radio program, and my parents were trying to instill on me the importance of this particular, what was going on. And what it was Queen Elizabeth's coronation. And I was old enough to know about kings and queens and, princes and princesses and stuff like that, but I had no idea where the United Kingdom was. No clue. I just knew it was far, far away. Now, I can't remember. Really, the only thing that I can actually remember about the radio announcer, what he actually said was, and this was back when we weren't watching it on television, so you formed word pictures in your mind. And I remember him saying, when he was describing everything that was going on, he said something to the effect of, not in a critical way, just saying as a matter of fact, Prince Charles was holding his flag upside down. That's the only thing I can remember from that radio broadcast. Many years ago, about 70 years ago, I guess. Anyway, this morning I got up early, and up until just a few moments ago, I was watching the procession of Queen Elizabeth's last ride. And I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of words that other people have already said about how they appreciated her steadfastness and stability, and that's all been said. And I think the way I feel right now is, I want to move on. Life goes on, and I want to move on. So I did come back to the model table here yesterday. I did do a little bit. Don't know if you can see that or not. Not to be disrespectful to the Queen's funeral, but life goes on. Let's continue on. Let's roll back. Okay, we're gonna continue right along here on this pizza day, what's left of it. And I was checking my comments, which I do usually 2-3 times a day, first thing in the morning and for sure last thing at night if I can. And got a comment from our friend Vic. And Vic was saying something to the effect of, I thought you were not going to be using the 56 anymore. And I realize now that I didn't make it clear. Like this is painted in the 56, and these are painted the 56. And I guess he probably saw me painting something and using the 56 in the last episode, and he was thinking, well, I thought you said you weren't going to use it anymore. And what I meant by that is, I'm making this worse, aren't I? I should quit while I'm ahead. What I meant was I'm not going to be using it anymore on when I'm finished with this model, with this particular kit, with the Rodney, in other words. But some of the smaller parts. Oh, now I remember what it was I was painting. It was these parts over here that I'm pointing at right now. Yeah, right here. Okay, so at least I think that's what it was. And anyway, it doesn't matter. What I want to do is continue on with the 56 so that parts like this will match. Otherwise, if I was to do some of the vents or whatever in 56 and some of them in 77, well, I don't know. Or like these boxes. Well, they're already painted to 56. Yeah, I readily admit the 56 was a big mistake. But I do think that, once we get the ship in the case, all these dark little components aren't going to look too bad. Now, the ladder I did in the 77 because I never did any ladders in 56. Now, if I had have done all the previous ladders in 56, I would have done this one as well. Let's recompose here and see if we can get that this ladder adjusted here and glued into place. And then I think we're finished with this step. I was looking in the monitor a minute ago, and I was surprised that I could see where those openings were on the sides of the stringer. And okay, now I've got it more or less just try and get it back just a little bit there. Now, as near as I can tell, if I look at the top tread on the ladder, it looks like everything sort of matches up there. Now, what I'm going to try to do is glue it at the top with probably CA, I guess. Okay, I know we talked about this maybe a couple of years ago already, and it's because it's about a couple of years ago that I made these little things out of wire here that they were actually supposed to be to go in the deck on the ship for like tie downs for ropes and what have you, like eye bolts, I guess you call them. And I've been using this other thing as the CA applicator, and I'm just wondering if how this will work if I dip this little piece of wire into the CA. Will it hold the drop right here, or is it going to just sort of maybe wick its way up the wire? I don't know. I don't think we've actually tried it, but I do remember we talked about it, or maybe I thought about it. Anyway, let's give it a try here. Okay, I'm dipping the loop into the CA glue, and I do believe there is CA thin, not the thin quick setting, but just the thin. Now it's just going to wick its way out where I need it. Or am I just going to knock this thing off? I think I shoved the ladder over. I shoved the ladder over up against the bulkhead, and I didn't actually want it there, although you can't really tell. I don't know if this is actually working better than the old applicator or not. Okay, let's let that cure. I wonder if we could get some in on the other stringer. Maybe if I bent the wire just a little bit, I can come in at an angle like this. I realize that your vision is probably badly blocked by all the... Yeah, I think I got it. Okay, let's not poke at it anymore. It seems to me, though, that the bottom of the ladder is too far out this way. There. Okay, looking at it from my perspective, it's in about the right place. All right, I did get some CA on there. You probably can't see it, but there is some CA on the bottom of that stringer. And I don't think it would fall off now if a strong wind came by. And being is that this railing and the ladder are both the 77, I can always touch this up later. Okay, using our little wire loop there, seemed to work pretty good. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. We've basically got our ladder here in place now, and got that back. All right, let's check the manual, but I think we're done. I think we're done with this step. No, we're not done. We've got to make up a little boat. I don't think we've got this one made. E21, and it goes on bracket L27, and it has to mount right here. I hope these vents that we put in aren't going to be in the way. Okay, so this one has the interior already molded in, so I just have to paint it, I guess. All right, I'll just check and see what I think I probably did the outside of the hull with the 66 on the other ones, at least I think I did, and the inside would probably be the 77. And then it seems to me that we use the panel line accent color on the planking in the bottom of the boat. So yeah, in the meantime, let's get the flashing cleaned off this. Okay, now when we got the boat off the E sprue, I didn't mention it, but that was the last piece on the E sprue. Now this one here, I want to make sure I don't go too high and accidentally cut off the part that we need, so I think I did it right. Okay. Yeah, this one has quite a bit of flashing on it. I think this entire centerpiece that I'm touching right now comes out. And then we're going to end up with a very fragile little part that's going to have to go in the side of the superstructure and support the weight of the boat. I think it'll work. So a few minutes ago I was looking at our L sprue here, and I was thinking, well, there's only 2 more pieces left, and we can put it up on the wall with the E sprue. And then I thought, well, what are these things anyway? So the more I looked at them, the more it looked like we'd already nipped some pieces off. So I checked the manual, and it turns out that it was parts for the crane here. Well, we've already got that and built it. Okay, so that means that this sprue can also go up on the wall. That's 2 sprues in the last half hour. Okay, before we wrap it up for this evening, I'm going to live dangerously here, and I'm going to remove this just momentarily, and I'm going to keep my eye on the radar that I keep bending. But the reason I wanted to remove that is I wanted to show something here. It looks like I forgot to put in a mushroom vent. One of the viewers thought that I'd forgot a mushroom vent, and I was looking at that too when I was working around here. But I think you're going to find that when we flip to the next step, we are going to be putting in a large, tall vent here and a square one right here. But that will be when we flip the page, which is actually going to be really soon. So let's get this back on here. Okay, here is what's been happening this evening. I did go ahead and clean up the bracket that gets mounted in the side, and I did mount it in the side. I have painted it the darker 77 to contrast against the lighter 66 on the superstructure, but you can't really see the difference, and most of the bracket is going to be hid anyway when we put the boat on there. Now the boat, I have painted it. I just finished painting it with the deck tan, and I think I did pretty good. Now I haven't. It's still wet in there, so I haven't done the panel line accent color. We'll be doing that in the morning. We'll be using the dark brown, the same as we did on these other boats back here, and it sort of helped. Now when we drop this little boat down on top of this bracket, I don't know how much of the interior we're going to be seeing anyway. Especially being as this side is going to be against the back of the case. And that's kind of too bad. I don't think we put one of these boats on the other side. Now, Jason was suggesting something about a mirror. He asked in one of the comments, he says, you're going to be putting a mirror in behind. I don't know. I just don't know about that. It would be a good idea to be able to reveal stuff like this, but I don't know. We'll see what happens when we get there. In the meantime, what do we got here? 20 minutes after 8 already. I'm going to call it quits for this evening, and we'll be seeing you in the morning. It is morning, and our little boat here has had probably about, I'm guessing 16 hours to dry out. And it looks to me like the planking on the bottom is about as visible as it's going to get. I'm going to use some panel line accent color to try and bring it out and darken it. Now I know that because I did not clear coat this, it's probably going to seep up the sides a little bit. And in case things get out of hand, I've got some of Gabe's absorbent things here. And maybe I better shake this first. Okay. I know the panel line accent color does settle, but it also shakes up really fast. Okay, now let's just try it right here where it's the. Oh yeah. Oh, I touched the side. Well, now I'm going to have to touch the other side to make so it'll match. Although, does it really need to? Yeah, it kind of brings it out. Let's get in the back corner there a little bit. How about up in the bow? Now I'd like to get it down in these smaller ones too, if I could. Yeah. I have not resampled from the jar, so I'm just whatever's on the. Okay, I think I pretty much got it about as much as I want to now. Now you notice it is stained right here on the back. I'm wondering if maybe I should just darken that whole thing. Maybe I should undarken it. Yeah, I think that'll be okay once it dries. Okay, what I'm doing now is I've already done quite a bit of it, but I'm just trying to absorb some of the excess here. I think I had too much on. Yeah, right in here. Okay, I think that's somewhat better. I think this swab is becoming pretty saturated. Okay, let's let it dry. Now, I would think that is supposed to sit level. Something like that. I think that the outside of the hull should come against the outside of this right here. That's not right either. Oh, I got a stain right there. I didn't notice that when I was working away with Gabe's swabs. I should have been. Yeah, I better do something about that. That doesn't look good. Now, speaking of Tony's tweezers, we got something delivered this morning. Okay, it is glued in place. And I used a Tamiya regular glue to glue it in place, not the extra thin. And that's where it's going to stay unless I accidentally break it off. Well, what do you know? I actually got to rip it open properly. Alrighty. Wonder what temperature a person's supposed to set their heat gun to. I can see that I'm going to be using the smaller ones. Probably never use these bigger ones. Okay, let's get into this thing here. Okay, I guess that stays on there. And for Tony's tweezers, I guess looks like these are. What is this? Oh well, it doesn't matter. Would these be the smallest ones? And we don't need to waste them. I just need to just do the ends here. Okay, just let me recompose here. I think what I should do is have it so that if this stuff shrinks, it could also shrink this way as well as the other way. So maybe I should have it extended out a bit, because I can always nip it off later. All right, now Gonna get my. I know some people will use a match and they'll hold it underneath it and they'll do it that way, but I've got a heat gun that goes up to quite a bit. Mind you, it might also blow the fuse here if I turn it up all the way because it's on the same circuit as the overhead lights are. Well, let's see what happens here. Okay, I've got it set at 540 Fahrenheit. Okay, it looks like there's glue or something coming out of the ends of it here. Yeah. We'll wait till this thing cools now. And then we'll nip it off. Yeah, I think it's going to be all right. They're a little bit sticky. Let it cool down. Okay, they're not sticky anymore. Now, where would the points be? You can sort of see they'd be right about 1/4 of an inch in. I don't want to use my good Tamiya nippers just in case I think that should be. We'll try it there. Yeah, that should work. Okay, Tony, we're kind of back to normal here. It would have been nicer if the shrink wrap went a little bit smaller than that, but at least now it serves its purpose. I really liked being able to grab these to pick up something and not need to worry about, scratching it with the metal. So yeah, love these tweezers. Thanks a lot, Tony. Okay, we got our boat on. We got the ladder shaped and formed in place here. Now don't poke at it. And we got this thing on. We got these windlasses on. This is on. Photo etch is on. Now I know that the ensign flag staff is not on, but like I keep saying, we're going to save that till last because it is going to be sticking out the back here. Well, I guess I could put a hoop over it, right? I could do that. But I want to leave it till last. There's certain things that I want to leave till last, and that's one of them. So I believe we have got everything now in step 44. I think so. Okay, step 45. All right, now these are those tall vents that I was talking about, a square one and a round one that go in the back here, that one of the viewers thought was one of the mushroom vents that I missed. And I thought that too when I saw that hole there a couple of days ago. Okay, so that shouldn't be too complicated. We got some C3s here that we have to drop down. They're all made already. This H26, I don't know if we got that, but that shouldn't be complicated. This gun, I know we've got that made. We just drop that in place in the back here. I guess we'll have to turn our ship around to get everything to the right orientation. Okay, what do we got here? It's 12:39, almost 12:40. That means it's almost 6:40 p.m. in England. Now, when I stopped watching the Queen's funeral this morning live, we were at the place where they had just got into St. George's Chapel and the service was well underway. and the singing had stopped and the speaking had started, and that's when I quit. So I want to just sort of catch up now and see the rest of this. I can sort of scrub ahead now that it's already happened. Yeah, so I'm going to call this episode quits here. So thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll be seeing you tomorrow in step 45.